Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Barcelona. Barcelona is the capital and largest city of Catalonia, an autonomous community in Spain, and the country's second most populous municipality. With a population of 1.6 million within city limits, its urban area extends beyond the administrative city limits, with a population of around 4.7 million people, being the sixth most populous urban area in the European Union after Paris, London, Madrid, the Ruhr area and Milan. It is the largest metropolis on the Mediterranean Sea, located on the coast between the mouths of the rivers Llobregat and Besòs and bounded to the west by the Serra de Collserola mountain range, the tallest peak of which is 512 meters high. Founded as a Roman city in the Middle Ages, Barcelona became the capital of the County of Barcelona. After merging with the Kingdom of Aragon, Barcelona continued to be an important city in the Crown of Aragon as an economic and administrative center of this crown and the capital of the Principality of Catalonia. Barcelona has a rich cultural heritage and is today an important cultural center and a major tourist destination. Particularly renowned are the architectural works of Antoni Gaudí and Luis Domènech I Montaigne, which have been designated UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The headquarters of the Union for the Mediterranean is located in Barcelona. The city is known for hosting the 1992 Summer Olympics as well as world-class conferences and expositions, and also many international sport tournaments. Barcelona is one of the world's leading tourist, economic, trade, fair and cultural centers, and its influence in commerce, education, entertainment, media, fashion, science and the arts all contribute to its status as one of the world's major global cities. It is a major cultural and economic center in southwestern Europe, 24th in the world, and a financial center. In 2008, it was the fourth most economically powerful city by GDP in the European Union, and 35th in the world, with GDP amounting to €177 billion. In 2012, Barcelona had a GDP of $170 billion, and it was leading Spain in employment rate in that moment. In 2009, the city was ranked Europe's third, and one of the world's most successful as a city brand. In the same year, the city was ranked Europe's fourth best city for business and fastest improving European city, with growth improved by 17% per year. And the city has been experiencing strong and renewed growth for the past 3 years. Since 2011, Barcelona has been a leading smart city in Europe. Barcelona is a transport hub, with the Port of Barcelona being one of Europe's principal seaports and busiest European passenger port and international airport, Barcelona El Prat Airport, which handles over 40 million passengers per year, an extensive motorway network, and a high-speed rail line with a link to France and the rest of Europe. Names. The name Barcelona comes from the ancient Iberian Barquino, attested in an ancient coin inscription found on the right side of the coin in Iberian script as, in ancient Greek sources as Barcanen, and in Latin as Barcino, Barcelonum and Barcelona. Some older sources suggest that the city may have been named after the Carthaginian general Hamilcar Barca, who was supposed to have founded the city in the 3rd century BC. But there is no evidence that Barcelona was ever a Carthaginian settlement, or that its name in antiquity Barcino had any connection with the Barcid family of Hamilcar. During the Middle Ages, the city was variously known as Barcanona, Barcelona, Barcelona, and Barcelona. Internationally, Barcelona's name is wrongly abbreviated to Barca. However, this name refers only to FC Barcelona, the football club. The common abbreviated form used by locals is Barna. Another common abbreviation is BCN. which is also the IATA airport code of the Barcelona El Prat airport. The city is also referred to as the Ciutat Comtal in Catalan and Ciudad Comtal in Spanish, owing to its past as the seat of the Count of Barcelona. Prehistory. The origin of the earliest settlement at the site of present-day Barcelona is unclear. The ruins of an early settlement have been found, including different tombs and dwellings dating to earlier than 5000 BC. The founding of Barcelona is the subject of two different legends. The first attributes the founding of the city to the mythological Hercules. The second legend attributes the foundation of the city directly to the historical Carthaginian general Hamilcar Barca, father of Hannibal, who supposedly named the city Barcino after his family in the 3rd century BC. But there is no historical or linguistic evidence that this is true. Roman Barcelona. In about 15 BC, the Romans redrew the town as a castrum centered on the Mons Tabor, a little hill near the contemporary city hall. Under the Romans it was a colony, with the surname of Faventia, or in full Colonia Faventia Julia Augusta Pia Barcino, or Colonia Julia Augusta Faventia Paterna Barcino. Pomponius Mela mentions it among the small towns of the district, probably as it was eclipsed by its neighbor Tarico, but it may be gathered from later writers that it gradually grew in wealth and consequence, favored as it was with a beautiful situation and an excellent harbor. It enjoyed immunity from imperial burdens. The city minted its own coins, some from the era of Galba survive. Important Roman vestiges are displayed in Plaza del Rey underground, as a part of the Barcelona City History Museum MUHBA. The typically Roman grid plan is still visible today in the layout of the historical center. The Barry Gothic. Some remaining fragments of the Roman walls have been incorporated into the cathedral. The cathedral, also known as the Basilica La Seu, is said to have been founded in 343. Medieval Barcelona. The city was conquered by the Visigoths in the early 5th century, becoming, for a few years, the capital of all Hispania. After being conquered by the Arabs in the early 8th century, it was conquered in 801 by Charlemagne's son Louis, who made Barcelona the seat of the Carolingian Hispanic March, a buffer zone ruled by the Count of Barcelona. The Counts of Barcelona became increasingly independent and expanded their territory to include all of Catalonia, although on 6 July 985, Barcelona was sacked by the army of Almanzor. The sack was so traumatic that most of Barcelona's population was either killed or enslaved. In 1137, Aragon and the County of Barcelona merged in dynastic union by the marriage of Ramon Berenguer IV and Petronilla of Aragon, their titles finally borne by only one person when their son Alfonso II of Aragon ascended to the throne in 1162. His territories were later to be known as the Crown of Aragon, which conquered many overseas possessions and ruled the western Mediterranean Sea, with outlying territories in Naples and Sicily and as far as Athens in the 13th century. The forging of a dynastic link between the crowns of Aragon and Castile marks the beginning of Barcelona's decline. The Bank of Barcelona, probably the oldest public bank in Europe, was established by the city magistrates in 1401. It originated from necessities of the state, as did the Bank of Venice and the Bank of Genoa. Barcelona under the Spanish monarchy. The marriage of Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile in 1469 united the two royal lines. Madrid became the center of political power, whilst the colonization of the Americas reduced the financial importance of Mediterranean trade. Barcelona was a center of Catalan separatism. including the Catalan revolt against Philip IV of Spain. The Great Plague of 1650–1654 halved the city's population. In the 18th century, a fortress was built at Montjuïc that overlooked the harbour. In 1794 this fortress was used by the French astronomer Pierre-François-André Messier for observations relating to a survey stretching to Dunkirk that provided the official basis of the measurement of the meter. The definitive meter bar manufactured from platinum was presented to the French Legislative Assembly on the 22nd of June 1799. Much of Barcelona was negatively affected by the Napoleonic Wars, but the start of industrialization saw the fortunes of the province improve. Urban planner Ildefons Cerda designed the larger Example district in the 1850s. When the medieval city walls around Barcelona's old town were torn down. The Spanish Civil War and the Franco period. During the Spanish Civil War, the city and Catalonia in general were resolutely republican. Many enterprises and public services were collectivized by the CNT and UGT unions. As the power of the Republican government and the Generalitat diminished, much of the city was under the effective control of anarchist groups. The anarchists lost control of the city to their own allies, the communists, and official government troops after the street fighting of the Barcelona May days. The fall of the city on 26 January 1939 caused a mass exodus of civilians who fled to the French border. The resistance of Barcelona to Franco's coup d'état was to have lasting effects after the defeat of the Republican government. The autonomous institutions of Catalonia were abolished, and the use of the Catalan language in public life was suppressed. Barcelona remained the second largest city in Spain, at the heart of a region which was relatively industrialized and prosperous. Despite the devastation of the Civil War, the result was a large-scale immigration from poorer regions of Spain, which in turn led to rapid urbanization. Late 20th century. In 1992, Barcelona hosted the Summer Olympics. The after-effects of this are credited with driving major changes in what had up until then been a largely industrial city. As part of the preparation for the Games, industrial buildings along the seafront were demolished, and 2 miles of beach were created. New construction increased the road capacity of the city by 17%, the sewage handling capacity by 27%, and the amount of new green areas and beaches by 78%. Between 1990 and 2004, the number of hotel rooms in the city doubled. Perhaps more importantly, the outside perception of the city was changed, making by 2012 Barcelona the 12th most popular city destination in the world and the 5th amongst European cities. Recent history. On 17 August 2017, a van was driven into pedestrians on La Rambla in the city, killing 14 and injuring at least 100. Other attacks took place elsewhere in Catalonia. The Prime Minister of Spain, Mariano Rajoy, called the attack in Barcelona a jihadist attack. AMAQ news agency attributed indirect responsibility for the attack to the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Location. Barcelona is located on the northeast coast of the Iberian Peninsula, facing the Mediterranean Sea on a plain approximately 5 kilometers wide, limited by the mountain range of Collserola, the Llobregat River to the southwest and the Besòs River to the north. This plain covers an area of 170 square kilometers, of which 101 square kilometers are occupied by the city itself. It is 120 kilometers south of the Pyrenees and the Catalan border with France. Tipi d'Arbo, 512 meters high, offers striking views over the city and is topped by the 288.4 meters Torre de Collserola, a telecommunications tower that is visible from most of the city. Barcelona is peppered with small hills, most of them urbanized, that gave their name to the neighborhoods built upon them, such as Carmel, Puig and Rovira. The escarpment of Montjuïc, situated to the southeast, overlooks the harbor and is topped by Montjuïc Castle, a fortress built in the 17th-18th centuries to control the city as a replacement for the Ciutadella. Today the fortress is a museum, and Montjuïc is home to several sporting and cultural venues, as well as Barcelona's biggest park and gardens. The city borders on the municipalities of Santa Coloma de Gramenet and Sant'Adria de Besòs to the north, the Mediterranean Sea to the east, El Prat de Llobregat, and Hospitalet de Llobregat to the south, and Sant Feliu de Llobregat, Sant Just Desvern, Esplugues de Llobregat, Sant Cugat del Val, and Montcada I Reixac to the west. The municipality includes two small, sparsely inhabited exclaves to the northwest. Climate. Barcelona has a humid subtropical climate bordering a maritime Mediterranean climate with mild, humid winters and warm to hot summers, while the rainier seasons are autumn and spring. Its average annual temperature is 21.2 degrees Celsius during the day and 15.1 degrees Celsius at night. The average annual temperature of the sea is about 20 degrees Celsius. In the coldest month, January, the temperature typically ranges from 12 to during the day 6 to at night, and the average sea temperature is 13 degrees Celsius. In the warmest month, August, the typical temperature ranges from 27 to during the day about 23 degrees Celsius at night, and the average sea temperature is 26 degrees Celsius. Generally, the summer holiday season lasts about 6 months from May to October. 2 months, April and November, are transitional. Sometimes the temperature exceeds 20 degrees Celsius, with an average temperature of 18 during the day and 11 at night. December, January, and February are the coldest months, with average temperatures around 15 degrees Celsius during the day and 9 degrees Celsius at night. Large fluctuations in temperature are rare, particularly in the summer months. Because of the proximity to the warm sea, frosts are very rare in the city of Barcelona. In fact, only one day in the last 30 years was recorded with a temperature under the freezing mark, 1 degree Celsius. Snow is infrequent. Barcelona averages 78 rainy days per year, and annual average relative humidity is 72%, ranging from 69% in July to 75% in October. Rainfall totals are highest in late summer and autumn and lowest in early and midsummer, with a secondary winter minimum. Sunshine duration is 2,524 hours per year, from 138 in December to 310 in July. Demographics. According to Barcelona's City Council, Barcelona's population as of 1 January 2016 was 1,608,746 people on a land area of 101.4 square kilometers. It is the main component of an administrative area of Greater Barcelona, with a population of 3,218,071 in an area of 636 square kilometers. The population of the urban area was 4,223,000. It is the central nucleus of the Barcelona metropolitan area, which relies on a population of 5,083,000. Spanish is the most spoken language in Barcelona, and it is understood almost universally. After Spanish, Catalan language is the second most spoken one in the city, and it is understood by 95% of the population, while 72.3% can speak it, 79% can read it, and 53% can write it, thanks to the language immersion educational system. In 1900, Barcelona had a population of 533,000 people, which grew steadily but slowly until 1950. When it started absorbing a high number of people from other less industrialized parts of Spain. Barcelona's population peaked in 1979 with 1,906,998 people and fell throughout the 1980s and 1990s as more people sought a higher quality of life in outlying cities in the Barcelona metropolitan area. After bottoming out in 2000 with 1,496,266 people, the city's population began to rise again as younger people started to return, causing a great increase in housing prices. Population density. Note, this text is entirely based on the municipal statistical database provided by the City Council. Barcelona is one of the most densely populated cities in Europe. For the year 2008, the City Council calculated the population to 1,621,090 living in the 102.2 square kilometers sized municipality, giving the city an average population density of 15,926 inhabitants per square kilometer, with the example being the most populated district. In the case of Barcelona, though, the land distribution is extremely uneven. Half of the municipality of 50.2 square kilometers, all of it located on the municipal edges, made up of the 10 least densely populated neighborhoods containing less than 10% of the city's population. The uninhabited Zona Franca industrial area and Montjuïc Forest Park, leaving the remaining 90%, or slightly below 1.5 million inhabitants living on the remaining 52 square kilometers, at an average density close to 28,500 inhabitants per square kilometer. Of the 73 neighborhoods in the city, 45 had a population density above 20,000 inhabitants per square kilometer, with a combined population of 1,313,424 inhabitants living on 38.6 square kilometers, at an average density of 33,987 inhabitants per square kilometer. The 30 most densely populated neighborhoods accounted for 57.5% of the city population, occupying only 227% of the municipality, or in other words, 936,406 people living at an average density of 40,322 inhabitants per square kilometer. The city's highest density is found at and around the neighborhood of La Sagrada Familia, where 4 of the city's most densely populated neighborhoods are located side by side, all with a population density above 50,000 inhabitants per square kilometer. Migration. In 2016, about 59% of the inhabitants of the city were born in Catalonia and 18.5% coming from the rest of the country. In addition to that, 22.5% of the population was born outside of Spain, a proportion which has more than doubled since 2001 and more than quintupled since 1996, when it was 8.6% respectively 3.9%. The most important region of origin of migrants is Europe, with many coming from Italy or France. Moreover, many migrants come from Latin American nations as Bolivia, Ecuador, or Colombia. Since the 1990s, and similar to other migrants, many Latin Americans have settled in northern parts of the city. There exists a relatively large Pakistani community in Barcelona with up to 20,000 nationals. The community consists of significantly more men than women. Many of the Pakistanis are living in Ciutat Vella, First Pakistani migrants came in the 1970s, with increasing numbers in the 1990s. Other significant migrant groups come from Asia as from China and the Philippines. There is a Japanese community clustered in Bonanova, Les Tres Torres Pedralbes and other northern neighborhoods, and a Japanese international school serves that community. Religion. Most of the inhabitants state they are Roman Catholic. In a 2011 survey conducted by Info Católica, 49.5% of Barcelona residents of all ages identified themselves as Catholic. This was the first time that more than half of respondents did not identify themselves as Catholic. The numbers reflect a broader trend in Spain whereby the numbers of self-identified Catholics have declined. The province has the largest Muslim community in Spain. 322,698 people in Barcelona province are of Muslim religion. A considerable number of Muslims live in Barcelona due to immigration. In 2014, 322,698 out of 5.5 million people in the province of Barcelona identified themselves as Muslim, which makes 5.6% of total population. The city also has the largest Jewish community in Spain, with an estimated 3,500 Jews living in the city. There are also a number of other groups, including Evangelical Jehovah's Witnesses, Buddhists and Eastern Orthodox. General information. The Barcelona metropolitan area comprises over 66% of the people of Catalonia, one of the richer regions in Europe and the fourth richest region per capita in Spain, with a GDP per capita amounting to €28,400. The Greater Barcelona metropolitan area had a GDP amounting to $177 billion, making it the fourth most economically powerful city by gross GDP in the European Union, and 35th in the world in 2009. Barcelona City had a very high GDP of €80,894 per head in 2004, according to Eurostat. Furthermore, Barcelona was Europe's fourth best business city and fastest improving European city, with growth improved by 17% per year. Barcelona was the 14th most livable city in the world in 2009 according to lifestyle magazine Monocle. Similarly, according to innovation analyst Tuthino, Barcelona occupies 13th place in the world on Innovation Cities Global Index. Barcelona has a long-standing mercantile tradition. Less well known is that the city industrialized early, taking off in 1833. When Catalonia's already sophisticated textile industry began to use steam power, it became the first and most important industrial city in the Mediterranean basin. Since then, manufacturing has played a large role in its history. Bolsa de Barcelona is the main stock exchange in the northeastern part of the Iberian Peninsula. Barcelona was recognized as the Southern European City of the Future for 2014-15, based on its economic potential by FDI magazine in their biannual rankings. Trade fair and exhibitions. Drawing upon its tradition of creative art and craftsmanship, Barcelona is known for its award-winning industrial design. It also has several congress halls, notably Serra de Barcelona, the second largest trade fair and exhibition center in Europe, that host a quickly growing number of national and international events each year. The total exhibition floor space of Serra de Barcelona venues is 405,000 square meters, not counting Gran Via Center on the Plaza de Europa. However, the Eurozone crisis and deep cuts in business travel affected the council's positioning of the city as a convention center. An important business center, the World Trade Center Barcelona, is located in Barcelona's Port Vell harbor. The city is known for hosting world-class conferences and expositions, including the 1888 Exposition Universal de Barcelona, the 1929 Barcelona International Exposition, the 2004 Universal Forum of Cultures, and the 2004 World Urban Forum. Tourism. Barcelona was the 20th most visited city in the world by international visitors, and the 5th most visited city in Europe after London, Paris, Istanbul and Rome, with 5.5 million international visitors in 2011. By 2015, both Prague and Milan had more international visitors. With its rambles, Barcelona is ranked the most popular city to visit in Spain. Barcelona is internationally renowned a tourist destination with numerous recreational areas, one of the best beaches in the world, mild and warm climate, historical monuments, including 8 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, 519 hotels as of March 2016, including 35 five-star hotels and developed tourist infrastructure. Due to its large influx of tourists each year, Barcelona, like many other tourism capitals, has to deal with pickpockets, with wallets and passports being commonly stolen items. For this reason, most travel guides recommend that visitors take precautions in order to ensure their possessions' safety, especially inside the metro premises. Despite its moderate pickpocket rate, Barcelona is considered one of the safest cities in terms of health, security and personal safety, mainly because of a sophisticated policing strategy that has dropped crime by 32% in just over 3 years and has led it to be considered the 15th safest city in the world by Business Insider. Manufacturing sector. Industry generates 21% of the total gross domestic product of the region, with the energy, chemical and metallurgy industries accounting for 47% of industrial production. The Barcelona metropolitan area had 67% of the total number of industrial establishments in Catalonia as of 1997. Barcelona has long been an important European automobile manufacturing center. Formerly there were automobile factories of AFA Abadal Actividades Industriales Alvarez America, Arte de Arcos Balandras Baradat Esteve Biscuita J. Castro Clua David Delfin Diaz y Grillo Ebro Trucks Edis Elizalde Automobiles España Ucort Phoenix Fábrica Hispano Auto Academia Garriga Fábrica Española de Automobiles Hebe Hispano Suiza Huracan Motors Talas Heritage Junior SL Carpi La Quadra MA Automobiles Matters Motors Y Motos National Custals National Pescara National RG National Ruby National Sitges Automobiles Nike ORIX Otro Ford Porsche Pegaso PTV Ricart España Industrias Salvador Seata Española Stevenson Romagoza Y Campania Garria Storm Talas Herita Trimac Automobiles Victoria Manufacturers Mecánicas Alu. Today the headquarters and a large factory of Seat are in one of its suburbs. There is also a Nissan factory in the logistics and industrial area of the city. The factory of Derby, a large manufacturer of motorcycles, scooters and mopeds, also lies near the city. As in other modern cities, the manufacturing sector has long since been overtaken by the services sector, though it remains very important. The region's leading industries are textiles, chemical, pharmaceutical, motor, electronic, printing, logistics, publishing and telecommunications industry and culture. The notable Mobile World Congress and information technology services. Fashion. The traditional importance of textiles is reflected in Barcelona's drive to become a major fashion center. There have been many attempts to launch Barcelona as a fashion capital, notably Gaudí Home, Beginning in the summer of 2000, the city hosted the prestigious Bread, when its organizers announced that it would be returning to Berlin. This was a hard blow for the city, as the fair brought €100 million to the city in just 3 days. Since 2009, the Branderie, an urban fashion show, has been held in Barcelona twice a year until 2012. According to the Global Language Monitor's annual ranking of the world's top 50 fashion capitals, Barcelona was named as the 7th most important fashion capital of the world, right after Milano, and before Berlin in 2015. Government and administrative divisions. As the capital of the autonomous community of Catalonia, Barcelona is the seat of the Catalan government known as the Generalitat de Catalunya. Of particular note are the executive branch, the Parliament, and the Supreme Court of Catalonia. The city is also the capital of the province of Barcelona and the Barcelones comarca. Barcelona is governed by a city council formed by 41 city councillors elected for a 4-year term by universal suffrage. As one of the 2 biggest cities in Spain, Barcelona is subject to a special law articulated through the Carta Municipal. A first version of this law was passed in 1960 and amended later, but the current version was approved in March 2006. According to this law, Barcelona's city council is organized in 2 levels, a political one with elected city councillors, and one executive which administrates the programs and executes the decisions taken on the political level. This law also gives the local government a special relationship with the central government, and it also gives the mayor wider prerogatives by the means of municipal executive commissions. It expands the powers of the city council in areas like telecommunications, city traffic, road safety, and public safety. It also gives a special economic regime to the city's treasury, and it gives the council a veto in matters that will be decided by the central government, but that will need a favorable report from the council. The Comissió de Govern is the executive branch formed by 24 councillors led by the mayor, with 5 lieutenant mayors and 17 city councillors each in charge of an area of government, and 5 non-elected councillors. The plenary, formed by the 41 city councillors, has advisory, planning, regulatory and fiscal executive functions. The 6 commissions del Consell Municipal have executive and controlling functions in the field of their jurisdiction. They are composed by a number of councillors proportional to the number of councillors each political party has in the plenary. The City Council has jurisdiction in the fields of city planning, transportation, municipal taxes, public highways, security through the Guardia Urbana, city maintenance, gardens, parks, and environment, facilities, culture, sports, youth, and social welfare. Some of these competencies are not exclusive but shared with the Generalitat de Catalunya, or the central Spanish government. In some fields with shared responsibility, there is a shared agency, a consortium between the city and the Generalitat to plan and manage services. The executive branch is led by a chief municipal executive officer which answers to the mayor. It is made up of departments which are legally part of the city council and by separate legal entities of 2 types, autonomous public departments and public enterprises. The seat of the city council is on the Plaça de Sant Jaume, opposite the seat of Generalitat de Catalunya. Since the coming of the Spanish democracy, Barcelona had been governed by the PSC, first with an absolute majority and later in coalition with ERC and ICV. After the May 2007 election, the ERC did not renew the coalition agreement, and the PSC governed in a minority coalition with ICV as the junior partner. After 32 years, on the 22nd of May 2011, CRU gained a plurality of seats at the municipal election, gaining 15 seats. to the PSC's 11. The PP hold 8 seats, ICV 5 and ERC 2 districts. Since 1987, the city has been divided into 10 administrative districts. The districts are based mostly on historical divisions, and several are former towns annexed by the city of Barcelona in the 18th and 19th centuries that still maintain their own distinct character. Each district has its own council led by a city councillor. The composition of each district council depends on the number of votes each political party had in that district, so a district can be led by a councillor from a different party than the executive council. Education. Barcelona has a well-developed higher education system of public universities. Most prominent among these is the University of Barcelona, a world-renowned research and teaching institution with campuses around the city. Barcelona is also home to the Polytechnic University of Catalonia and the newer Pompeu Fabra University, and in the private sector, the EADA Business School, founded in 1957, became the first Barcelona institution to run manager training programs for the business community, IESE Business School, as well as the largest private educational institution, the Ramon Llull University, which encompasses internationally prestigious schools and institutes such as the ESADE Business School. The Autonomous University of Barcelona, another public university, is located in Bellterra, a town in the metropolitan area. Toulouse Business School and the Open University of Catalonia are also based in Barcelona. The city has a network of public schools from nurseries to high schools, under the responsibility of a consortium led by City Council. There are also many private schools, some of them Roman Catholic. Most such schools receive a public subsidy on a per-student basis, are subject to inspection by the public authorities, and are required to follow the same curricular guidelines as public schools, though they charge tuition. Known as escoles concertades, they are distinct from schools whose funding is entirely private. The language of instruction at public schools and escoles concertades is Catalan, as stipulated by the 2009 Catalan Education Act. Spanish may be used as a language of instruction by teachers of Spanish literature, a language, and foreign languages by teachers of those languages. An experimental partial immersion program adopted by some schools allows for the teaching of a foreign language across the curriculum, though this is limited to a maximum of 30% of the school day. No public school, or escola concertada in Barcelona, may offer 50% of full immersion programs in a foreign language. Nor does any public school or escola concertada offer international baccalaureate programs. Culture. Barcelona's cultural roots go back 2,000 years. Since the arrival of democracy, the Catalan language has been promoted both by recovering works from the past and by stimulating the creation of new works. Barcelona is designated as a world-class city by the Globalization and World Cities Study Group and Network. Entertainment and performing arts. Barcelona has many venues for live music and theatre, including the world-renowned Gran Teatre del Liceu Opera House, the Teatre Nacional de Catalunya, the Teatre Llur, and the Palau de la Música Catalana concert hall. Barcelona also is home to the Barcelona and Catalonia National Symphonic Orchestra, the largest symphonic orchestra in Catalonia. In 1999, the OBC inaugurated its new venue in the brand-new auditorium. It performs around 75 concerts per season, and its current director is Agoua. It is home to the Barcelona Guitar Orchestra, directed by Sergi Vicente. The major thoroughfare of La Rambla is home to mime artists and street performers. Yearly, two major pop music festivals take place in the city: the Sonar Festival and the Primavera Sound Festival. The city also has a thriving alternative music scene, with groups such as the Pinkertones receiving international attention. Media: El Periódico de Catalunya, La Vanguardia, and Ara are Barcelona's three major daily newspapers, while Sport and El Mundo Deportivo are the city's two major sports daily newspapers published by the same companies. The city is also served by a number of smaller publications such as Ara and El Punt Avui, by nationwide newspapers with special Barcelona editions like El País and El Mundo, and by several free newspapers like 20 Minutos and Q. Barcelona's oldest and main online newspaper, VilaWeb, is also the oldest one in Europe. Several major FM stations include Catalunya Radio, RAC1, RAC 105 and Cadena Ser. Barcelona also has a local TV stations, BTV, owned by City Council. The headquarters of Televisió de Catalunya, Catalonia's public network, are located in Sant Joan d'Espí in Barcelona's metropolitan area. Sports: Barcelona has a long sporting tradition, and hosted the highly successful 1992 Summer Olympics as well as several matches during the 1982 FIFA World Cup. It has also hosted, among others, about 30 sports events of international significance. FC Barcelona is a sports club best known worldwide for its football team, one of the largest in the world and second richest football club in the world. It has 70 of national and 17 continental trophies, including 5 of the UEFA Champions League and 3 of the FIFA Club World Cup. Also, it is the only men's club in the world to accomplish a sextuple. FC Barcelona also has professional teams in other sports like FC Barcelona Regal, FC Barcelona Handball, FC Barcelona Hockey, FC Barcelona Ice Hockey, FC Barcelona Futsal, and FC Barcelona Rugby, all of them winners of the highest country and European competitions. The club's museum is the second most visited in Catalonia, and Frist's statue, famous and world the symbol in total Catalonia, is Lionel Messi Catalan, and FC Barcelona flag have dedicated Barcelona fans a statue in the center of the city, with mesh number 10 with brilliant colors. At least twice a season, FC Barcelona and crosstown rivals RCD Espanyol contest in the local derby in La Liga, while its basketball section has its own local derby in Liga ACB with nearby Joventut Badalona. Barcelona also has other clubs in lower categories like CE Europa and UE Sant Andreu. Barcelona has 2 UEFA elite stadiums, FC Barcelona's Camp Nou, the largest stadium in Europe, with a capacity of 100,000, and the publicly owned Estadi Olympic Louis Companies, with a capacity of 55,000, used for the 1992 Olympics. Also, the city has several smaller stadiums such as Mini Estadi with a capacity of 15,000, and Camp Municipal Nasa Sala Nou Sardenya with a capacity of 7,000. In the suburbs of Barcelona there is a third UEFA elite stadium, Estadi Cornellà el Prat, with a capacity of 40,000. Also, except Palau Sant Jordi with a capacity of 12,000, 24,000. City has 2 other larger sporting and concert arena, Palau Blaugrana with a capacity of 7,500, and Palau dels Esports de Barcelona. Barcelona was also the host city for the 2013 World Aquatics Championships, which were held at the Palau Sant Jordi. Several road running competitions are organized year-round in Barcelona, the Barcelona Marathon every March with over 10,000 participants in 2010, the Cursa de Bombers in April, the Cursa de el Corte Inglés in May, the Cursa de la Merce, the Cursa Jean Boan, the Milla Sagrada Familia and the San Silvestre. There's also Ultra Trail Collserola, which passes 85 kilometers through Collserola Forest. The Open Seat Chodo, a 50-year-old ATP World Tour 500 Series tennis tournament, is held annually in the facilities of the Real Club de Tenis Barcelona. Also each Christmas, a swimming race across the port is organized near Barcelona in Montmeló. The 107,000 capacity Circuit de Catalunya, Circuit de Barcelona racetrack hosts the Formula 1 World Championship, Formula 1 Spanish Grand Prix, Catalan Motorcycle Grand Prix, Spanish GT Championship and GP2 Series. Skateboarding and bicycling are also very popular in Barcelona. In the city and the metropolitan area, there are tens of kilometers of bicycle paths. Airports. Barcelona is served by Barcelona El Prat Airport, about 17 kilometers from the center of Barcelona. It is the second largest airport in Spain and the largest on the Mediterranean coast, which handled more than 44.1 million passengers in 2016, showing an annual upward trend. It is a main hub for Vueling Airlines and Ryanair, and also a focus for Iberia and Air Europa. The airport mainly serves domestic and European destinations, although some airlines offer destinations in Latin America, Asia and the United States. The airport is connected to the city by highway, metro, commuter train and scheduled bus service. A new terminal has been built and entered service on the 17th of June 2009. Some low-cost airlines also use Girona Costa Brava Airport, about 90 kilometers to the north, Royce Airport, 77 kilometers to the south, or Lleida Alguer Airport, about 150 kilometers to the west of the city. Sabadell Airport is a smaller airport in the nearby town of Sabadell devoted to pilot training, aerotaxi and private flights. Seaport. The Port of Barcelona has a 2,000-year-old history, and a great contemporary commercial importance. It is Europe's 9th largest container port, with a trade volume of 1.72 million TEUs in 2013. The port is managed by the Port Authority of Barcelona. Its 10 square kilometers are divided into 3 zones: Port Vell, the commercial port, and the logistics port. The port is undergoing an enlargement that will double its size thanks to diverting the mouth of the Llobregat River 2 kilometers to the south. The Barcelona harbour is the leading European cruiser port, and a most important Mediterranean turnaround base. In 2013, 36 million of pleasure cruises passengers used services of the Port of Barcelona. The Port Vell area also houses the Marie Magnum, a multiplex cinema, the IMAX Port Vell, and one of Europe's largest aquariums, Aquarium Barcelona, containing 8,000 fish and 11 sharks, contained in 22 basins filled with 4 million liters of seawater. The Marie Magnum, being situated within the confines of the port, is the only commercial mall in the city that can open on Sundays and public holidays. Railway. Barcelona is a major hub for Renfe, the Spanish state railway network. The city's main intercity rail station is Barcelona Sants railway station, whilst Estació de Franca Terminus serves a secondary role handling suburban, regional, and medium-distance services. Freight services operate to local industries and to the Port of Barcelona. Our ENFE's Avenue high-speed rail system, which is designed for speeds of 310 km per hour, was extended from Madrid to Barcelona in 2008 in the form of the Madrid-Barcelona high-speed rail line. A shared Renfe-SNCF high-speed rail connecting Barcelona and France was launched in 2013. Both these lines serve Barcelona Sants terminal station. Besides RENFE's services, other rail services in the Barcelona area are operated by the Ferrocarrils de la Generalitat de Catalunya, owned by the Catalan government. The FGC operates largely commuter rail services but also carries freight to the port of Barcelona, as well as a number of rack railways and funiculars, and 3 of the lines of the Barcelona Metro. Other suburban services are operated by Rodalies de Catalunya over Renfe tracks. Roads and highways. Barcelona lies on 3 international routes, including European Route E15 that follows the Mediterranean coast, European Route E90 to Madrid and Lisbon, and European Route E09 to Paris. It is also served by a comprehensive network of motorways and highways throughout the metropolitan area, including A2, A7, AP7, C16, C17, C31, C32, C33, C60. The city is circled by 3 half-ring roads or bypasses: Ronda d'Adult, Ronda del Litoral and Ronda del Mig. 2 partially covered fast highways with several exits that bypass the city. The city's main arteries include Diagonal Avenue, which crosses it diagonally, Meridiana Avenue, which leads to Glories and connects with Diagonal Avenue, and Gran Via de les Corts Catalanes, which crosses the city from east to west, passing through its center. The famous Boulevard of La Rambla, whilst no longer an important vehicular route, remains an important pedestrian route. The Estacio del Nord, a former railway station which was renovated for the 1992 Olympic Games, now serves as the terminus for long-distance and regional bus services. Local public transport. Barcelona is served by a comprehensive local public transport network that includes a metro, a bus network, 2 separate modern tram networks, a separate historic tram line, and several funiculars and aerial cable cars. Most of these networks and lines form a coordinated fare system administered by the Autoritat del Transport Metropolità, although they are operated by a number of different bodies. This integrated public transport is divided into different zones, and depending on usage, various integrated travel cards are available. The largely underground Barcelona Metro network comprises 12 lines identified by an L, followed by the line number as well as by individual colors. 8 of these lines are operated on dedicated track by the Transports Metropolitans de Barcelona, whilst 4 lines are operated by the Ferrocarrils de la Generalitat de Catalunya, and some of them share tracks with that company's commuter lines. Another company, TRAMMET, operates the city's 2 modern tram networks known as Trambex and Trambesos. The historic tram line, the Tram Via Blau, connects the metro to the funicular del Tibidabo. The funicular de Tibidabo climbs the Tibidabo Hill, as does the funicular de Valvidrera. The funicular de Montjuïc climbs the Montjuïc Hill. The city has 2 aerial cable cars, the Montjuïc cable car and the Port Bell aerial tramway that runs via Torre Jomai and Torre Sant Sebastià over the port. Buses in Barcelona are a major form of public transport with extensive local, interurban and night bus networks. Most local services are operated by the TMB, although some other services are operated by a number of private companies, albeit still within the ATM fare structure. A separate private bus line known as Aerobus links the airport with the city centre with its own fare structure. Barcelona has a metered taxi fleet governed by the Institut Metropolità del Taxi, composed of more than 10,000 cars. Most of the licenses are in the hands of self-employed drivers. With a black and yellow livery, Barcelona's taxis are easily spotted and can be caught from one of many taxi ranks hailed on street, called by telephone or via app. On the 22nd of March 2007, Barcelona's City Council started the biking service, a bicycle service understood as a public transport. Once the user has their user card, they can take a bicycle from any of the more than 400 stations spread around the city, and use it anywhere the urban area of the city and then leave it at another station. The service has been a success with 50,000 subscribed users in 3 months. Main sites. The Barri Gòtic is the center of the old city of Barcelona. Many of the buildings date from medieval times, some from as far back as the Roman settlement of Barcelona. Catalan modernist architecture developed between 1885 and 1950, and left an important legacy in Barcelona. Several of these buildings are World Heritage Sites. Especially remarkable is the work of architect Antoni Gaudí, which can be seen throughout the city. His best-known work is the immense but still unfinished Church of the Sagrada Familia, which has been under construction since 1882 and is still financed by private donations. Completion is planned for 2026. Barcelona was also home to Mies van der Rohe's Barcelona Pavilion, designed in 1929 for the International Exposition for Germany. It was an iconic building that came to symbolize modern architecture as the embodiment of van der Rohe's aphorisms, less is more and God is in the details. The Barcelona Pavilion was intended as a temporary structure, and was torn down in 1930, less than a year after it was constructed. A modern recreation by Spanish architects now stands in Barcelona, however constructed in 1986. Barcelona won the 1999 Ruhr Royal Gold Medal for its architecture, the first time that the winner has been a city rather than an individual architect. Museums. Barcelona has a great number of museums which cover different areas and eras. The National Museum of Art of Catalonia possesses a well-known collection of Romanesque art, while the Barcelona Museum of Contemporary Art focuses on post-1945 Catalan and Spanish art. The Fundació Joan Miró Picasso Museum and Fundació Antoni Tapis hold important collections of these world-renowned artists, as well as the Conframes Museum focused on post-1960 Catalan art owned by Fundació Vilacases. Several museums cover the fields of history and archaeology, like the Barcelona City History Museum, the Museum of the History of Catalonia, the Archaeology Museum of Catalonia, the Barcelona Maritime Museum, and the privately owned Egyptian Museum. The Erotic Museum of Barcelona is among the most peculiar ones, while Cosmocaixa is a science museum that received the European Museum of the Year award in 2006. The FC Barcelona Museum has been the most visited museum in the city of Barcelona, with 1,506,022 visitors in 2013. Parks. Barcelona contains 60 municipal parks, 12 of which are historic, 5 of which are thematic, 45 of which are urban and 6 of which are forest. They range from vast pocket parks to large recreation areas. The urban parks alone cover 10% of the city. The total park surface grows about 10 hectares per year, with a proportion of 18.1 square meters of park area per inhabitant. Of Barcelona's parks, Montjuïc is the largest with 203 hectares, located on the mountain of the same name. It is followed by Parc de la Ciutadella, 31 hectares including the Zoo, the Guinardó Park, Parc Güell, Oroneta Castle Park, Diagonal Mar Park, now Barris Central Park, and Drago Sports Park, and Poblenou Park, the Labyrinth Park named after the garden maze it contains. There are also several smaller parks, for example the Parc de les Aigues. A part of the Collserola Park is also within the city limits. PortAventura, one of the largest amusement parks in Europe with 3 million visitors per year, is located 1 hour's drive from Barcelona. Also within the city lies Tibidabo Amusement Park, a smaller amusement park in Plaza del Tibidabo with a Montaña Russa amusement ride. Beaches. Barcelona Beach was listed as number 1 in a list of the top 10 city beaches in the world, according to National Geographic and Discovery Channel. Barcelona contains 7 beaches, totaling 4.5 kilometers of coastline. Sant Sebastià Barceloneta and Somorrostro beaches, both 1,100 meters in length, are the largest, oldest and the most frequented beaches in Barcelona. The Olympic Harbour separates them from the other city beaches, Nova Icaria, Bogatal, Marbella, Nova Marbella and Levant. These beaches, ranging from 400 to were opened as a result of the city restructuring to host the 1992 Summer Olympics, when a great number of industrial buildings were demolished. At present, the beach sand is artificially replenished given that storms regularly remove large quantities of material. The 2004 Universal Forum of Cultures left the city a large concrete bathing zone on the eastmost part of the city's coastline. Most recently, Levant is the first beach to allow dogs access during summer season. Other partnerships and cooperations. Other forms of cooperation and city friendship similar to the Twin City programs exist to many cities worldwide. Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Would you like to know more?